Roles of a denizen. A content creator is a user that creates posts and is rewarded based on the quality of their content. A content evaluator is a user that helps assess the quality of content and enforces community standards. The evaluator is effectively taking part in a marketplace to curate content and is rewarded for early evaluation. A content consumer is a user that wishes to find and consume the most valuable content in a given subject area or within a community. A lair owner is a person holding tokenized ownership of all or part of a community lair. Owners are rewarded with a portion of all mining activity happening within their lair. Owners are incentivized to build the best community of content creators and evaluators.
What's up, DENDAO? Today is November 17th. We have our weekly DENDAO governance meeting today. I'm Dave. We're here with Joe, with Greg, and with I Am for I Am to talk about some Den stuff. Real quick, you might have noticed that there's a couple of posts in Den and one in Dragon Chain where there's been some server migration happening, some infrastructure changes. That's been going fine. Den, in fact, is live on its new infrastructure, which is great. If you have any issues that you noticed that maybe weren't thought of, a couple of those had come up, minor things that just had to be looked at and corrected along the way. Everything seems to be fine now. So if you were curious, that's what that was about. So that's just a quick note there. And let's see. We've got new layers. So we've got, oh, by the way, at the top of, if you go to the DENDAO post for today, at the top, there's a link to join. So this is open to anybody that wants to come in and talk about business stuff, governance stuff, and things like that. So that's where the link is located. New layers, though. So LCP just wrapped. We got Books, Bag Holders, and Alpha. So Books was the one that won the first place by unique voter. I've been waiting for that one for a while. I like Books. And then the other two were from Total Lore Committed. We had number 5 and number 13, which there is actually a vote up right now to change that to 8 and 21. So if you do check your governance section, yeah, it's up. It's up. It's not resolved yet. It just went up not too long ago. So that's up.
Okay.
That's an open vote for anybody, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the way that DENDAO works, everyone on this call right now is in DENDAO. Everyone that has an account who's been active on Den is part of DENDAO voting. Governance weight is assigned to behaviors on the platform. So you can vote on this with whatever weight you have. And that weight, I guess I can go ahead and recap that real quick. The different ways you can get governance weight where like your vote matters more than maybe it did before would be, I guess the easiest way, if you wanted to just turn it on, would be to go add liquidity to the matter and lore pools over on the Uniswap V3 1% pool. If you look at the pie charts on screen right there, half of the creator and half of the owner votes goes to whoever decides to put liquidity in there. That's a behavior that's incentivized with a governance vote. So if you think of the way that DEN's reward systems are built, it's kind of designed around the idea of, hey, we need people to generally act in certain ways to have a decent community and to keep the thing going. So that's one of them. And then the others are just, your rewards that you get from posting content gives you some of the behavior score. Your lot that you hold gives a passive matter income. It's like a matter emission that gives you a behavior score for governance in the owner section. So if you ever wanted to get more involved with DENDAO to have more of a say in all of this, those are some of the kind of like things to keep in mind. And there's some guides out there if you search for it. And if you have questions about it, you can come ask here. You can hit me up on the coffee show, throw an AMA question in for Joe on Tuesdays, that kind of thing. So that was just a recap of how that works. Everybody gets a vote to go vote on changing the December LCP winners from 5 to 13 to 8 and 21. And that's in the category of total lore committed.
And I seriously don't see that up there.
Don't you?
No.
I see it. I don't know.
You know, what's funny
I
was
see it on the screen in front of me too.
not realizing I voted. And then when I went in the DENDAO and I saw it, I go, oh, I need to vote on that. And it was throwing me an error. And I was thinking, well, wait a minute. I have lot in this. I should be able to vote on the DENDAO proposal. And then I looked right now and I went out and into the main button on the right, for voting.
Mm-hmm.
And then it said voted underneath, on my line.
That could have been some sort of glitch. You know what I've noticed? Now, I almost exclusively use the desktop web browser
Yeah, me too.
app. And so what I've noticed is that sometimes if something isn't displaying correctly or whatever, or if I'm not sure, I'll press on my keyboard Control-Shift-R, which forces a refresh or a reload of the app's cache and stuff. And sometimes it's far less today than it used to be like a year ago, whenever that was more of a recurring thing.
Yeah.
And the only other thing I can think of is just make sure when you go to governance, there's on the left-hand side, there's a flag. On the right-hand
I'm
side,
looking
there's
at the regular. I wasn't looking at DENDAO. Of course.
Yeah. On the right-hand side, there's the DENDAO thing, which is something, a lot of people might only be looking at that.
Yeah.
The flag, the one on the left.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that typically shows you everything that you have lot for to vote in, except for DENDAO, which is a special one.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Now,
everybody gets a DENDAO.
Yeah.
Maybe it should be in there. I don't know.
I had already voted. Now I went back and tried, to get the error again, and it says you cannot vote because you currently have no presence in the voting pools. But what it should say is, for my error, should be you already voted.
Okay. Yeah. Now that's an error message thing that we could change probably pretty easily.
Yeah. But it's not priority at all.
So it's not totally broken. It just was weird for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was, I had forgot I voted. Just like I did in Arizona.
You forgot you voted. So yeah, DENDAO's open to everybody. So back on the layer creation thing, we had books. So that's that won the first place over there. 5 and 13, we had bag holders and we had alpha. So bag holders is a fun one. I was reading the description for that one. It reads like a snarky, like tongue-in-cheek proposal, which I think it probably was, but it's also fun, right? Yeah. And we had a little conversation earlier today on World Blockchain Roundtable about like shitcoin casinos and stuff like that. So maybe that's a place we could go in and talk about if there was an arcade that took your bag coins, what would it go in? Be interesting to see what pops up in there.
By the way, I didn't mention it on the show today. It's hard to get word, and there's enough people. Something that's funny that we had thought about doing a long time ago that maybe Den could do something with this just to attract attention. That essentially, if we made a smart contract, and it could be on Ethereum, it could be on Dragon Chain, if it was multi-chain tokens, but where essentially you would just throw in some balance of shit coins for a vote, and ever so often everyone would win. It would be free parking, monopoly free parking. If you
get a bunch of random,
you just get them all.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually have. I find more and more analog analogies to like in real life for stuff. Like I've got these little wooden tokens from a bar that doesn't exist anymore, where, if you go and you patronize the place, they would give you a token every time, and they had like Token Tuesdays or something where you could come back and you could use your token to get a free drink or something, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, you know what? That's like an actual like OG shitcoin, basically.
Yep.
You know,
That's awesome.
I always like the penny smashers at the different tourist attractions, right?
Oh yeah.
You put in 50 cents of real money, and you put in a penny of useless money.
yeah,
And you get out like a completely useless penny that is also
you make it
evidence of federal crime, and you walk away with a souvenir.
Oh,
Right?
federal crime, exactly.
yeah.
But you can do
interesting.
something similar with shitcoins, where you trade them in for an NFT that essentially smashes them into something.
Yeah.
Using their
Well,
properties to randomly.
There's
generate.
enough people now that have those where you could ironically make something that provides utility to them just because kind of thing. And it could be a
And
game.
most
or
people
it
want
could
that
be,
crap out of their
whatever.
wallet anyway.
Yeah.
Dave, I remember that bar you're talking about. They had an SEC raid not too long ago. Confiscated all of their
Yeah. Ain't that the truth, man?
Yep.
That's who they're
people
going
were
after.
apparently handing them off on the secondary market in exchange for Lucy's, and it was just the SEC had to step in because
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's a can of worms, man. We talked a little bit about in the current events today about the whole FTX thing and stuff, but that is not what this meeting is about.
Yeah.
So go back and watch the episode.
Other
if
than
you
the
want.
fact Den did not take out any loans from Alameda or
That's true.
FTX.
Here,
They
here.
didn't invest.
One of the
in us. We didn't have
one
our
of the good
funds
things
there.
about not getting involved in any of that bullshit is that there was nothing to get. There was no harm to come to like anything involved with Den or Dragon Chain or any of that, because like we just didn't play that stupid game.
Yep.
So like,
And it would've been a
I've
stupid
traded
game.
before, like sure, you just to kick the tires and see how it works and stuff, but I've never really like, I don't know, if I wanted to swim in fiat, I would go do fiat stuff. It's just
Right.
not what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And I did read that Genesis got roped into it, and they actively solicit startups in crypto space. For treasury management.
I don't know about Genesis. I know, I saw BlockFi has got potentially to close their doors. I saw there's some FUD about Coinbase. I think that's a nothing burger. The CEO is selling some of his stocks, whatever. But really, we don't know how any of that stuff's going to play out. But I will say that Den is a great place to talk about it, because you can discuss current events on Den without worrying about it being generally censored or modified to look like you said something you didn't, or penalized for voicing your opinion and things like that. So
or if you're
that is what we're here for. That is what Den is here for, and that's something that it does very good with. So
yep. Any leakers in the audience who actually want to share some information and don't know where to put it, create a Den account and then post anonymously. If there's a legitimate conspiracy that you're privy to, there is a conspiracy theories layer where you can post anonymously. I know Library also has publicly said like, hey, you can post content to Library anonymously if you want to, do that.
Does
Go for it.
cryptocurrency let you post anonymously? That's a question.
I don't know.
Let them see.
I don't know, but anybody who holds lot can propose it.
Say that again. What was the question?
Cryptocurrency does not let you post anonymously, so I'm going to make that right now.
Proposal. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That seems relevant. It's probably a good idea for us to go through and think about, now that we have some features that were not there when some of these layers initially got created. It's probably worth going back through all the layers that we have ownership to, each of us, and just thinking about like which ones make sense to have anonymous posts. Cryptocurrency, obviously, anonymity is a theme in cryptocurrency, stuff like that. So that's a good idea.
Yep. So go vote on this. I'm going to have it up pretty soon here.
On that note, is there any? Do you think there's any love for an idea of a platform-wide change to a new default?
So you say,
what was that again?
Oh,
default to what?
Default
to allow
anonymous. And you have to flip the switch with a vote if you want them off.
I would be up. I would vote for that.
Yeah.
Is this an idea?
Nope. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great idea.
Haro and Hyperion Frequency in chat. Thanks for joining us.
each of you have an interesting. So I'll bring up Hyros first. Bet you can't wait to be able to buy a Tesla with Matter. That'll be the day. That's our metric for success right there. If we can buy a Tesla with Matter directly,
I'll go so far
we
as
know
to
we'll have
say
made it.
1 Matter equals 1 Tesla.
And then I don't know if what Hyperion Frequency said was a funny typo or not, but he says, "Are you guys ready for Den to glow up?"
Oh, that's a real thing.
Oh, that's a good one.
And
that's a Zoomerism.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's I'm sure that plenty of people are watching everything that happens in all of these new industries, including social networks that are being built on blockchain, cryptocurrency related systems. And so I would not be surprised if some of the users glow. Some of the denizens
glow up is like think Mario grabbing the super mushroom.
Yes.
Oh, I guess I've been reading. I was just reading some of the FTX stuff over in Biz on 4chan. So glow means a whole different thing over there, and that's what was in my head.
That's what I know it as. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like,
and I guarantee some
radioactive
of our
waste
users
there.
do glow. Yeah.
Which, you know what? Welcome. All humans are welcome, and I assume, unless you're reptilian or something, I don't know. I assume you're human. So, anyway,
you could also propose the reptilian's lair if you are reptilian.
Those layers, to get back on topic, those layers will be created presumably Monday, and until then, you have the option of creating anything in the unique voters category. The 5 runners up, you can pay a Matter fee to get those created. So if something that you wanted to win didn't quite make the cut, you can do the runners up option. And so you can see here on the screen, it starts at 200 and it increments by 200 up to 1,000 Matter. And so,
and what are the choices?
What are the choices? That's the
choices 2, 3, 4, and 6, right?
Yeah, because you skip the one that it already won. Yep.
Oh, and
so
7 then. It would be
lore. Yeah.
Den's Got Talent.
So in unique voters, this is in unique.
Oh,
voters.
and unique
voters. Yeah.
So that's funny. The other 2 winners were runners up 2 and 3. So you only have 3 choices in this.
Yeah. We don't usually have that. Do we skip over those and count all 5
I
runner up?
Or
do they get
consumed? That could be interpreted either way, couldn't it?
Yeah. Because I was actually thinking it would be Den's Got Talent, and then the next runner-up would be astronomy and astrophotography.
Yeah, that's how I would see it.
That's true. That is true.
It just takes them out of the
didn't
list.
win. Yeah, you're totally right. Yep.
And then selfie would be at what rate again?
246.
Although the runners up, because they only won by lore, they didn't win by unique voters.
They didn't win by unique voters. You're right. They won in a different
they
category.
are runner up in unique voter.
You know what that tells me?
Oh,
you know what we need?
No, they would. Never mind.
I know the answer. I know the answer.
Okay.
We need a DENDAO vote.
That's where you're going.
I would be forgiving because I do think that they are the runners up, but they did win, so they're not the runners up. So you would just go to the next. I think
you would skip.
I think you guys need a composite score, right? You need to take like all of these metrics that matter and weight them and mash them into a number that lets you rank them.
Well, look, since this is recorded right now, we don't need to do like a DAO vote thing. We got a lot of us right here. You just want to do a yay or nay and decide, since we're on a recorded DENDAO meeting, and figure out what it's going to be.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
So
I'll second. Yeah.
If you're against, if you, how do you phrase it? If you want the 5 runners up to be Den's Got Talent, and then skip over Alpha and bag holders, and then go to astronomy, selfie, military equipment, Star Wars, then if you then say yes, I guess.
I'm anonymously voting yes.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. Greg, you're okay with that?
I am going to go with the will of the majority outside of my
All right,
vote.
so you're going to bandwagon.
I'll put my vote with everybody who wants, because I don't actually have an opinion one way or the other.
Okay, Greg delegated. Joe, do you want to include Alpha and bag holders or not? Do you want it?
I was going to take it and be the 13th man or whatever who decided I'm going to go the opposite of everyone else. But we had an abstention, so I'll just say let's just go with it, and we'll have the was it the 5 runners up?
5 runners up
that did not win
that
by
did
any
not
other
win
method.
something.
So yeah.
Okay,
So,
that's going to
we're
be a
in agreement,
precedent.
Joe.
Yeah.
So if something comes up in the future, this is the precedent, and we'll see how
it makes it
goes.
simple. It's like we'd
Hyperion
rather have
frequency
if somebody
also
really
says
wants to make
skip the
one of
ones that
them.
are picked,
Oh, what's
Yeah,
he say?
so-
Skip the ones that are picked. Yes,
which is what we're
I
talking
agree
about.
with hype.
Yeah. So we're good then.
Cool.
So first runner up then is Den's Got Talent, and that's 200 matter. Second is astronomy, astrophotography. That's been there for a while. That would be awesome to have that to
Yes.
see those pictures. Because we have a few people that take them themselves that I've seen.
I
that's
know we
second
had.
runner-up. I'd pay for that. if somebody
Yeah,
wants
I know.
it.
I'll reach out to Mirror Vision. I know that he got a new telescope not too long ago,
Oh, see,
and he
that'd
goes
be so
out.
awesome.
He goes out of town, out to the woods, goes camping, and gets some awesome photography
Wow. Yeah.
of space. So I'll see if I know he's got some matter too. So I'll see
I'd
if
throw
we can
in
get
matter if somebody wants to do that.
Okay.
I have a
selfie,
question.
Third, yeah.
So let's say selfie, and I say, you know what, I really want selfie to kick in there. So I pay the matter to get it, made into an active layer.
Yep.
Going into the vote, let's say I had 5% ownership. Does my ownership change with that matter? It doesn't, right?
Nope. It is what it is.
So, now, having said that, and I'm just thinking out loud, selfie could turn into a TikTok layer.
That is kind of the. I don't necessarily agree that it's awesome and stuff, but that is the push. YouTube's doing that, going that way. I saw like a particular pornography website is even picking up on it, which is really the indicator of how the internet is moving.
right?
So a lot of stuff is going to that like short form selfie. It's all about me, low attention span.
Yeah, it's getting ready.
Shallow.
But I'm totally
kind
sold
of
on
thing,
the format. Actually, I actually really like the format. I think it's fun.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like about it is it's
popular.
It's like to the depth of like lower content. I don't know. It's so strange.
Yeah.
It's good in some ways because it's all short. But
you guys haven't yet seen the TikTok where on the Rivet channel that explains the tornado cache thing in the space of a decent.
No, that's smart. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got
So
explainers.
selfie was third, military is fourth, Star Wars is fifth. So Star Wars would be 1,000.
Yep.
And then anything else that is over 29, which goes all the way down to what? Or sorry, over
8 or more.
8 or more unique, which is the lowest one is building, construction, and trades, which only has 2,500 lore in it, right? Fight against the big data companies, only 7.6 thousand. Sorry, 7,600 lore. It's such low amounts of lore. There's one in here for 2,100 lore, fantasy football layer. So whoever has a big
there's
piece
very
of that
there's
could
very
make it.
few unique voters
crazy.
too. And the reason that that's important is that once the LCP locks, and so once something wins, that's the permanent supply of lot. The lore becomes the permanent supply of lot.
Yeah.
So
I'll be back in less than 2 minutes.
all right, sounds good. So that's the LCP recap. Thanks for voting. If you want to know more about how to get lore to vote in December, there is a post that I put up over in the Den layer labeled something about how to get lore rewards and stuff, how lore rewards are distributed. Yeah, how the calculations work. There it is. Thanks for all the energy put on that. I noticed the last couple of days I've written some of these guides just to kind of try to explain it, and I've gotten pretty good matter payouts from it. So thanks, y'all. Appreciate that. I'll try to do more of it since it looks like it's desirable. Let me know what else you want to dive into, and I'll see what I can write up and make sure it's, I try to run my own numbers through it to make sure that what I write actually works, just to make sure, and it does. So that's an article you can read over about how farming calculations work. And that's how you can get free lore. And free lore is how you get free lot. And free lot is how you get passive matter. Passive. The better you manage your whatever layer that lot corresponds to, the more passive income it'll generate for you. So there's another article about similar to like how to interpret your rewards, your matter rewards. there was some, I had an issue with the links in this one. It was supposed to be a bunch of screenshots about what exactly I'm talking about, but I keep trying to use something that's awesome, and they keep changing their policy on how to like serve it publicly. So if you click on those links, unfortunately, it goes to a page saying you got to have an account on Skynet. So yay, I'll probably end up either just hosting my own or something like that one day. I'm trying to stay away from just defaulting to like hosting it on a Google Drive or some kind of, I'm trying to walk the walk here with decentralization, and sometimes it trips me up. So that's why none of the links work. My bad. But the explanation still follows, still works. So check those out if you're curious on how to if you want to form a strategy on how do I maximize my points so that I have more weight in conversations or in voting or in governance and stuff like that. That's kind of the point of all this, is how do I get the most utility out of my matter and lore and lot and stuff like that. Because the whole thing is set up to where you can come in, you don't have to buy anything, you just have to earn it, kind of thing. You can go to Uniswap and buy it if you want, and that counts the same way after you bring it in. That also is a behavior that is appreciated. So, whatever. All right. I think that's all I had to say about that. What's going on around here that we need to talk about as far as governance goes, as far as running the show goes and stuff like that? Not the show, but the platform.
You mean we're just opening up to anything?
Yeah, let's open it up to anything.
Okay. The item that we talked about last week was about the linking out, and the engagement reward was 2.5%.
Yeah.
Of the 1,000 matter per day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the idea was the extra that was there was a discussion about where something that's like unclaimed or that extra could fall into that.
There was, I think you're talking about, there was another discussion in DENDAO between last week and this week also related to that. Are you talking about the lore?
Maybe. Well, I was just saying I guess the core of the discussion was we should take another look at that 2.5% engagement reward to try to encourage more denizens to post a link back to Den in order to grow Den.
Yes, I know what it was. We were talking about modifying the way that lot pays out matter, a share of the rewards mined inside the layer. Right. And we were trying to decide what to do with, let's say there's a scenario where there's a layer that has active like people posting in it, but the layer owners actually are just vacant. They're not doing anything. There's no activity from the owners, right? And so that's a two-part. One was make it to where your activity in the layer, governing the layer, posting in the layer, whatever we come up with as the thing that you have to do, or the set of things, directly goes into the calculation of how much of a cut you get from your layer when all the matter is mined at the end of the day. Right. And so if, for example, and let's just say that if you're not active for a week, then your payout, your passive 5% cut or whatever it is, goes down to 0. And it gets redistributed among people that are active, right? So people that are actually stepping in to do things in the layer actually get more of that cut because they're the only ones around. Now, in the case where nobody does anything, where does it go? And I think we decided that could go to the reward system that you're talking about.
Right. Yeah. But it certainly needs to go through a DENDAO vote and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a very good idea. I'm for it. We need to nail down what the requirements are. Like, what does being active mean? Like, what does it actually literally mean? Does voting, does posting in there count? Does changing the settings count? What does having activity as an owner mean? That's one thing.
Well, let me ask this. Do we agree that this is a feature of Den that's not being used to grow the platform's subscription base? It's not being used well enough to grow Den? Or
you mean the link, the clickbacks?
Yeah, the linkage. It's not a big enough incentive for people to use it.
I don't know, because we just did the million matter thing not too long ago.
Right.
And I was looking, and just yesterday I was talking to someone because they were asking me like, hey, is this a glitch? I just got, like 13,000 lore all of a sudden last week. And what's up with that? And I went and looked at that contest that we ran internally. And I was like, nope, you won because you participated. And one of the things in there was like 200 and something, just in the last one quarter since July, there was like 200 and something winners for people that have been doing link backs, more than I realized.
Oh, okay.
So people are using it. I would say more than it not being an incentive. I'm suspecting that the incentives that do exist are unknown to a lot of people.
There you
right?
go.
That's my real suspicion.
We probably just need to talk about it on like Den with Coffee and hey, reminder everybody, do this,
Maybe even if you were to feature one of those things every week or a couple of them, right? To say, hey, we're going to talk about this and we're talking about this.
Yes.
If we don't have anything else.
One of the reasons I
might
think
make
that
a cool intro video
for
our streams, right? Like at the beginning of this one, you guys go through the way the the tokenomics work. Maybe just one that plays on a rotation whenever there's video that occasionally explains how that system works in a similar fashion. I think that would be killer.
Great idea.
I could.
We did find with these behavior systems, it is not only putting it in place and rewarding people, but a big part of it is, which Den admittedly, it's hard to do well. A big part of it is to show people what activities, what behaviors got them that reward, right? It's because once they realize, oh, I didn't know that, I'll do more of that. Sure, I'll do more of that, right? If they don't know, then say, oh, great, I got 2 matter.
Another thing that might be a cool idea for some layers would be to do internal type promotions where like maybe memes has a meme competition to build an explainer meme, or maybe fantastic views includes some kind of caption photo that would be great for the layer header or something like that. Like
I'll tell you what, in some of those layers, anywhere that I have a decent amount of lot, I would even say, hey, if we can set up something that somebody else manages like that, I would give some lot to people who would win contests like that, or little things. That'd be awesome. So
yeah, we could do more. Maybe once a quarter we do some kind of contest that involves that, just to keep it in the forefront of like, oh yeah, this thing exists.
Oh, you know what else we haven't even talked about it on the show? The LCP program. That's all. It's like it's a very regimented thing that we've been doing for how long?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It works, right? It was intended to help get people to focus on what should we make next. And there are lots of things that we've talked about to improve it, like say making everyone automatically subscribe for the next month, but they can unsubscribe, or if they leave it on, it just stays on. But something we never talk about that was put in place at the very beginning is that in every round, DENDAO essentially puts lore in to purchase, I think it's 10,000 shares of every one of these layers, with the express intent of later giving that away or selling it or whatever, right? As just a promotional thing, probably giving it away. But it was one of those things.
Another neat thing with this incentive too is it might make a really cool overture to a growth marketing partner. Like to where obviously you get rewarded if you push this out there. So somebody who pushes it out there on a promoted tweet and pushes it out there on a Google display ad is going to get hyper rewarded.
Yeah.
So it might actually be a way to defray the cost of recruiting some affiliate growth marketing firm. It might be an interesting approach.
I definitely think there could be a better just overall understanding of where all the different incentives are, kind of thing, and that would help a lot. Because even I'm looking at this payout sections for just a random day, and I think the one that I'm looking for is called site-wide engagement matter reward.
Yeah.
Which isn't really descriptive of what that is.
Yeah.
And so anybody looking at it might be like, oh, there's a number there. I don't know what that means.
It should have a description right there.
But if it had maybe a hover description, well, obviously this is something that's on the list of things to get revamped, and this is still a beta page. But just because, like, I know that I went a long time, and I do this shit all the time. I work on, I'm on Den, paying attention a lot, right? More than most people probably care about Den. I do. And even I didn't realize, like, oh, right, it isn't just when you have external boosts that you can get a Matter reward for sharing a link. There's also a normal, like, regular, anybody can do it with any post reward for it. So,
yeah. You know, another
there's a lot of moving parts.
Dave, just for the future, this is not obviously near term one, but would be cool to have, like, maybe some lore incentives, like you get 10 lore in a do it yourself lair situation where you go through a video tutorial or take a little bit of training on how these individual rewards actually work. So you can reward people for learning about it.
If anybody wants to make a tutorial in the tutorials layer, I'll give you lot as an owner for that. I got a bunch of lot.
I don't know if I have tutorials lot. I'll give give lore or Matter. So
I do. Yeah. I specifically
that's awesome.
Paid the fee to buy tutorials just for that reason.
That's awesome.
So I haven't made one in there for a while, but if you want to make a tutorial on something, especially Den related, but really if you know how to do something well and you want to make an interesting tutorial, go do it. I'll give you some lot.
And I'll totally share it out on other platforms too if somebody makes that.
Cool. So infographic and or intro video highlighting the way that you get, because we do get questions sometimes about, is there a referral code kind of thing, and I guess the answer is kind of like, we do need to apply one for and we've never come to an agreement on what the rewards would be, but for people who bring new people in who sign up and who are productive, right? How it'd be great to be able to reward the people that brought them in.
Right, like an affiliate link and affiliate QR code kind of thing.
Yep.
Right. Yep, that'd be huge. I had posted, I think last week, about we really need a layer search bar, a layer, just a real simple search. We're approaching 150 layers now, and to find,
that is growing.
Blockchain,
that is growing. I typically, I don't know. I'm lazy. I just Control F everything.
Me too.
But I also have the benefit of being on a computer all the time. I know some people are not on a computer, where it's less easy to do that. So that's a good point.
Well, and there's there's kind of a neat UI concept that Rivet's looking at for dashboard. Have you guys heard of a command line user interface?
I mean, I know what a CLI is.
Yeah, you know what a CLI is. So imagine a user interface that responds to a universal command line, kind of like universal search on Android and iPhone. Like you do the pull down search that covers the entire thing. You start typing, it gives you a list of apps and web pages and everything. Imagine being able to do a slash command though, and do something like /my layers or
like you would typically see in like a chat server or something,
right? Or you could do like a /open votes, or so you can go see what governance is doing, like for the same
like a site-wide search.
Yeah,
but you could do nav, you can do everything,
but doesn't drill down into the content.
You could have it such that you could do, like, if you wanted to, you could create / commands that would be like new post, specify layer, specify text.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I love it. That's amazing.
Well, eventually, we're definitely going to need better search capabilities.
An advanced search thing like that would be a pretty good idea, because you could say within these layers, yes, search the body and the content. No, don't search the body. Just look at the titles.
It's also really useful for data. Like, we're going to use it for data viz. So we're going to have like some canned options where you can click and get some basic metrics. But if you want to set like, custom time ranges or modify the display of it, so that it's using a presentation form you like, very more advanced features for modifying your data visualization when you're looking.
Yeah, like if I was thinking like I know we had there was a post about it a year ago, about sometime last year. It was either in the Den or the Den support, or maybe DENDAO, or maybe Dragon Chain Layer, and it was something to do with these keywords to be able to make that a query, basically.
Right, exactly. Sort of like the universal search in Slack, how it works, where you can use slash commands in it.
Gotcha.
Do you know, Greg, is there a library for that already?
There are a couple.
Okay.
The one that I found, it was just the proof of concept for me. So I suggested that idea to everybody over at Rivet, and they were like, "Yes, we love this. Now we have to design how this should work."
What's it called again?
Command line user interface. If you type CLUI, and then actually, I think there's a CSS tricks article on it that's really cool.
I mean, it's very similar to if you have keyboard navs. I can't remember what they call it on Gmail turned on. There are multiple, like a couple of key combinations are like GI is go to inbox, GT is go to send, stuff like that.
Right. Or just like simply pushing up on your keyboard as you're typing gets your last command back. Like those kinds of little things make things convenient. Nice. But the neat thing about CLUI is it also gives you user interface elements you can click as it autocompletes. So so people who don't know how to use a CLI who aren't comfortable with it can still click on stuff if they start typing.
Yeah, that was the one thing in my mind right now is like, this sounds like a very, very good tool for somebody who's highly computer literate.
Yeah.
But my only thing would be like, there needs to be a dead simple one too.
Or how about on mobile? Will it work on mobile? I'm thinking of the average. It's a very simplistic search bar at the top of, when a new user clicks on discover layers, or maybe it's someone that's not even a denizen yet and just clicks on discover layers, they get the list, but there's no search.
Scroll. Yep, lots of scroll.
It's just scroll. And on a phone, I can imagine
different things that I've thought about on that is like, so if you're logged in, you get and this is just coming from like feedback and issues that have come up. You get the list of what you're subscribed to, and it's A to Z, or I guess 0 to Z. And then after that, it restarts at A again for the ones that you're not subscribed to. And so a lot of people don't realize that there's another list that starts over at the end of the list, basically. Mm-hmm. And so we could have tabs, kind of like I'm thinking like the governance interface, where you have the different tabs for the different types of GIs, where you have the flag, and then you have another tab for the DENDAO. We could potentially have tabs in the layers, where at the top you've got layers you're subscribed to, layers that you're not subscribed to, and you just switch back and forth instead of having it all in one continuous list, and a search. Yep. But right now it's Control F. That's the way at the moment is Control F, or hit the little hamburger menu in your phone on your web browser and do find in page. And that's what we got right now. But that's definitely among the list of things that could be improved. That's one that people run into a lot. It's like, this is a huge long list.
Yeah. Well, the link that I just posted to you guys in chat is to an article by a team called Replit. And they have this great. That was actually the one I was thinking. It wasn't a CSS tricks. It was Replit.
Gotcha. Yeah, I have it up now.
Sourced what they built for this article, I believe.
I have that. Yeah, thank you. Because I was looking it up, and all I was finding was the Center for Land Use Interpretation, CLUI, which is different.
If you do CLUI and then UX, and then click past the stupid, we erased your more interesting search with fewer results. And get
gotcha.
CLUI UX rather than.
Yeah, well, I've got what you sent me now too, so that works out. Cool.
Sweet. Nice.
All right.
All right. So let's see. That's probably what we can.
Did you bring up? Maybe that's what you're saying. Did you bring up the letters? I think that was your solution as well to the search.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't. So the initial concept there was, even without a search, you can just simply put A through Z or 0 through Z at the top. If you know the one you're looking for, World Blockchain Roundtable, instead of scrolling all the way down, you can just click W. Just take me to the general sort of area. So that would help, along with the tabs, maybe both. That that's probably pretty quick to go throw in there, to be honest, if we could find some
Yeah.
Get
and that's kind of, I think, what I put up on my image on my entry was you would just start.
I must not have seen your post.
Yeah, you start typing world, and you would see the layer that started, all the layers that started with the word world would pop up.
Oh yeah, and what do they call it?
But
now I see it. I had to go look for it. I hadn't seen your post for some reason. I missed
look ahead search.
It's like Google. Google gives you your suggested list. Oh, I hate to.
Oh yeah, you've got a mock-up up there. Cool.
Yeah, there's a term for that too. And that's,
yeah, maybe you could show the mock-up.
Yeah, I can do that. Let me pull this up real quick.
That's what I was talking. That was what I was meaning. Something real simple, very basic that we could maybe implement a little bit quicker than something else. That's what I was.
Basically, you're saying just plop it right at the top there, like that.
Yeah.
Right. Well, if you implement like a tiled UI element, you can do sort of list generated tiles in a template, using something like what's the framework that's it's grid. I think it's Grid.js, like that approach where you have the individual tiles that generate for each layer, and then you can tell the UI to hide them based on a text match in that list. So it's really instant. You can do it really slick for not much effort.
Yeah, and this right here where it says layers you subscribe to, you could have 2 tabs under it. I don't think it would be too messy. Just have to, there's tons of real estate right here. See how it looks on mobile, that kind of thing. But yeah, even having like what you're subscribed to here, what you're not subscribed to as 2 different tabs would make it a little bit easier. Yeah, there's space there for it.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great point, Dave, because new users don't realize what they're not subscribed to, and that might pique their interest to subscribe to some different layers and generate activity in those layers.
Yeah, I think like I'm kind of in the back of my mind, I'm noticing a theme here, which is that there's a lot of things that probably new users just don't know about. Like you probably don't know that you can get rewarded for sharing stuff externally. You probably don't know that you can find stuff you're not subscribed to a certain way, things like that. I think that's probably the key takeaway there. Plus the things we need to improve, of course. But like the stuff that's already here, focusing on that a little bit.
A good place to start with that would be super simple. Would just be to pin some of those, those guides once they exist in the welcome layer.
Yeah, because even like the FAQ is a lot. Like it's a long, like there's a lot of stuff in there in the FAQ if you go to settings and FAQ, but that's like a big, like long list of things. And so I think a lot of people get overwhelmed. They're like, it's too much to read.
Yep. Really what you guys need is a Discover tab. But
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah. Something that's like, we have talked about like a meta layer where it could be like, combining posts from different layers in there.
It would be very appropriate to put either hover descriptions or links in the payouts so that you can directly see what that thing is. So you can say, okay, what is this number? And it'll tell you how to get it, how not to, the good and the bad in calculating that. So yeah.
Cool.
Let's do hovers. Okay. Let's do hover descriptions then.
Yeah.
Cool.
Simple.
All right. So dang, that was an hour already.
I did have one quick thing that I wanted to mention to everybody before we call it. Just a quick note about the advantages one might incur if Den operated off of Rivet, which I would suggest be a thing that comes up to vote at some point soon, because one, we support the values of the ecosystem, and you're not going to run into situations where, like within Fura or Alchemy or any of the others that you might be using, you might be in a country where you're persona non grata, so you can't interact with it. We don't censor our lists. You'll be supporting a group that actually makes it so you can access Tornado Cash if you want to. And we also offer, the best uptime for the like an insanely low price. We would actually probably give Den a special price that would be like half off of our listed for RPC capacity. So anyone is interested in doing that as a group, let's put it on the roadmap and bring it to a vote, because I would be happy to support making that a real improvement for interactions with the Ethereum blockchain, and then eventually with any other blockchain you guys want to add. So
there's definitely interest there, and not just from me. I know Joe's interested. And then just on a personal note, I was reading this morning. I was reading up on the latest testnet for Chainflip, and whenever I set my validator node up for that, I'm going to need an RPC connection. So I'll probably be hitting you up on that too. That I'm obviously going to go through Rivet for that because I think it's awesome. So cool. Yeah, that's definitely at the that's there's interest there.
I would also probably suggest too that if Den could seriously take a look at that, because as we go further down the rabbit hole of censorship, and people, I hope, will find Den as a safe haven for them to post freely, we will draw attention to the powers that be, and we will need things like what Rivet's talking about.
Right, exactly.
Because I eventually just want Den to be open on several networks, really.
Right.
In the long term.
And they could very easily make it difficult for Den to operate on ETH right now by just calling up the friendly folks at Infura and their government affairs division. And the government affairs division we run it comes through me, and I go prove it in court if you dare, but we don't even retain any information. So you're going to be fighting a long battle.
I will say we don't use Infura. We don't use Infura right now, but I don't want. I'd rather use Rivet. So anyway,
indeed. So I just wanted to put that out there for you guys. Like we will be obviously in the corner of Den in a way that you would.
That's like the modern version of shopping around for a VPN. I feel like it's like
in a way, yeah,
that kind of thing.
Cool. I have to take off, guys.
All right, get out of here. We'll see you later, Joe.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
I want to mention real quick also, Hyro said that a lot of referrals are done with like a use my name at the door type deal. So that's cool. A way to do it too. And maybe even in doing something where if somebody does do that, there's rewards involved, maybe for both parties. And also you could make people responsible for who they bring on, different tools.
I think whatever rewards are, it'd be great if you bring someone on who is productive, that you get some reward. That would be the idea.
That's cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's cool.
Or like even if it's just like Uber did at first, where both parties get $10 worth of matter.
Yep. True. Just early. Yep. All right.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Joe.
Bye.
See you. Yeah. So, and I wouldn't be against doing that too, especially if you're bringing on somebody who's obviously a human, okay, I'm this person is known and they're bringing somebody else in. They're like, this is my friend, also a human, not a bot.
Yep.
Then it's not a terrible thing to be like, okay, cool. Here's a little bonus to get you started, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. And then maybe even a boost down the line if you bring in somebody who's, proving not to be a potato quality contributor kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But first, let's talk about, or let's execute on getting some more visibility on what is available to people already, as far as how do you maximize your matter rewards, how do you maximize your lore farming and things like that.
Yep, low hanging fruit.
Because that's low hanging fruit, that kind of thing. All right, so that's today. That's this week's DENDAO meeting. Next week is Thanksgiving in the U.S., so I think we're just going to skip it next week. We're not.
Whoa! Yeah. This is priority over food, football, and family.
Not in America, my friend. Not in the U.S. of A.
So I will still show up on an empty call if anyone wants to.
All right, Den will be active. Den will be. In fact, maybe the Creature Comforts layer can start posting up all their Thanksgiving stuff on the Creature Comforts layer. Make everybody outside of the USA jealous that we all cook and eat all day long on Thursday next week.
And that, if you're from, we still have access to slightly more expensive but relatively unlimited electricity, which is nice.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll.
Actually, I don't mean to joke about that, guys. Actually,
I understood.
Tragedy,
But yeah, Den will be live. We just won't be doing a DENDAO call. We will be doing a World Blockchain Roundtable next week. That'll be on Tuesday, though, instead of Thursday. I do intend to still do coffee on Wednesday. I'll be here. I hadn't had any plans to change that. So get your questions into World Blockchain Roundtable because it's on Tuesday and not Thursday, which means you've got less time to get them posted. If you've ever looked into the Sandbox, which is a blockchain game thing, metaverse concept, then that's what the topic will be. So if you don't know about it, go look into it a little bit, enough to get questions, and then ask them. And then we'll talk about it next week. All right.
Cool.
And that's all I've got. Thanks for joining. Thanks for hanging out in chat and throwing some thoughts at us over there. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And I will see you all next week. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
Adaptable, raw capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible. But that conclusion is laughable, so with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.